doubled the notes that he had originally, or the interest was so high that it couldn't possibly be paid off. And either way, the loan now exceeded the value of the collateral. Yeah, like if you're getting a $10,000 loan and using whatever as collateral, if it reaches the point where you owe $35,000, it's pretty clear that whatever you're using to get that loan is not worth that.
Yeah.
So if you end up in default or whatever, it's not going to be good. Another loan was made in June 1961 for $9,000, and by July 1962, only 13 months later, it was up to $23,000.
Wow.
It had gone up $14,000 in about a year. The agents found this was done in part by having the person sign 2 notes, and then Kaminsky filed them on 2 separate days so the Register of Deeds would not notice that it was the same loan. It's goofy.
I can't believe that he was able to do this. Like, man, this just goes to show how bad the security must have been back then. Maybe it still is this bad.
Yeah.
Because you should not be able to do this.
No. No. An FBI agent spoke with a woman in Milwaukee who had received many loans from Kaminsky in the past few years. She said, however, that despite taking out many loans, she only ever received $200 in cash. More often, Kaminsky would say that she had creditors and had her sign to pay those creditors. She would sign blank forms that he would fill out after, and she never saw what he wrote. After consulting her attorney, who told her to stop doing that, Kaminsky no longer told her that she had creditors. Her arrangement with Kaminsky was unusual. She owned a $70,000 building with a tavern and a residence, for which Kaminsky collected the rent. He used the money collected to pay the bills, but there never seemed to be any money left over after the bills were paid. On another occasion, she paid him $1,000 to get a building of hers painted, but he never showed her the bill. She once mentioned the loan to local authorities, and he then threatened to destroy her and foreclose on her properties, putting her out on the streets. He later said he would buy her property for $1, and then she'd be free of him, but she refused. Once in his office, he mimed the action of pulling a gun from his desk drawer while talking to her. I'm stumbling today. Yeah, one time in his office, he mimed the action of pulling a gun from his desk drawer while talking to her.
Wow.
Multiple times during the interview with the FBI, the woman broke down crying. So this guy here apparently keeps telling her that she owes more on the rent, has all these bills, doesn't let her actually see the bills, then makes her take out loans to pay the bills she doesn't know what they are.
And ironically, the bills are always exactly whatever she has in cash.
Yes.
So there is never a profit.
Yeah. FBI agent spoke to a bar owner who said he had an $11,000 loan from Kaminsky. It was odd to him because the items he listed as collateral were worth $6,000 at most, so he didn't know how he was even approved for more than that. He later found that items were added on to a blank form after he left Kaminsky's office, including 2 automobiles that he did not own. The man told Kaminsky, who said that it was probably just a typing error. When he filled out the paperwork, he did not work with Kaminsky directly, but with one of the other people in his office. So apparently other people in the office are doing the same thing. The woman said she originally took out $10,000 from Kaminsky for her tavern, and over the past few years took out more loans for attorney fees and hospital bills. She now owed $47,000, more than 4 times what she originally owed. She was paying $125 a month with an interest rate of 12%. I didn't do the math on that, but I'm guessing at that interest rate, 125 isn't going to get you very far.
No.
She realized that Kaminsky effectively owned all of her property, but hoped that someday that she could pay. I did do a little bit of math here. Even if there was no interest whatsoever, at the rate of $125 a month, it would take her 31 years to pay off what she owed.
And you said that the interest rate was 12%. Right?
Yeah.
So the 12%, if you can't do the quick math in your head, the interest, the amount she was paying, I don't even think would cover the interest.
Yeah.
Because I want 10% of $45,000 is $4,500, right?
Yeah.
So
I mean, if the interest is 12%, she's paying 125. Again, I'm not going to try to do the math, but that sounds like at most she's paying off like $5 of principal a month. Like,
yeah, I don't, and if you do the math, I'm pretty sure that it's going to be $4,500 in interest a year,
okay.
and that's 120 times 12 is not 4,500.
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
it's not even going to cover the interest.
Yeah.
So
FBI spoke with the owner of Milo's Bar and Restaurant. He said that he'd been dealing with Kaminsky since 1948, so at this point, it's almost like 20 years, and always found their dealings to be friendly. At the present time, he owed around $65,000 on his property, which he estimated to be worth about $80,000. Milo acknowledged the interest rate he was charged was very high, but he said that was part of the business when no one else would give you a loan. I mean, yes, that's true, but like that's like why it's not legal. Like you're not supposed to be able to get a loan. If you get turned down for a loan, and then the only way you can get a loan is by going to somebody who charges you interest that you cannot possibly pay, that is not the solution.
No. Not the most sound financial advice ever.
A man who owned 2 restaurants said he was currently paying $500 a month to Kaminsky on a loan of $18,000. He was okay with that, but noticed the papers he received with the loan listed 2 cars and a variety of restaurant equipment that he did not own and wasn't even sure if they existed. So this like goes on. Like they find this all over the more the FBI is going around talking to people that they're finding loans with. These notes will all be online if you want to get more examples, but it's a lot of the same thing over and over again.
Before you jump for any further, I want to make sure see if we're on the same page without understanding. So what I'm understanding is he must be going to some other third party to get these loans. Kaminsky is not using his own money to finance. He's going to a third party company to get these loans.
Correct.
And that's where the whole fake. So somebody wants a $15,000 loan. They don't have the collateral to do it. He just uses some random thing to get the collateral that they need to get that loan, basically.
Yeah, so he's got this loan company, which is called Auto Acceptance. And I'm assuming it's called Auto Acceptance because he started out in the used car business. So this was probably a company he started to finance auto loans for people.
Okay.
I don't know that, but I'm assuming that's why it's called that. But either way, that's what it's called. So people go to him for loans, and maybe some of the smaller loans he's personally handling, but it seems like the majority of it he's sending to these 2 other companies in Chicago. One's called Walter Heller, and the other one's called AIC.
Okay.
And I'm not going to go into the details of that because the FBI talked to those other places, and as far as they could tell, they had no idea
that he was doing this shady stuff.
Yeah, they would get the paperwork, they'd process the loan, and as long as Harry continued to pay them whatever their arrangement was, they didn't care. Mm-hmm. They weren't sending people personally to Milwaukee from Chicago to be like, does he really have this car? Mm-hmm. They kind of assumed that the original loan company was doing that part.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, he's definitely running this all up through a much larger company.
And that's where these other items come in because they need to see enough collateral. So he's just giving them collateral.
Yes.
Whether it really exists or not.
Right. Yeah. So he seems to write down cars a lot and other random things that just will get the paperwork to look right.
Mm-hmm.
And then the money comes through. So, and again, I don't know like a lot of the details of this because the FBI focus was on the fact that he's sending improper paperwork to out of state.
Mm-hmm.
So to them, the crime is that these are not correct. And he's getting paid basically by selling something that isn't his to sell.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that they necessarily care about the interest rate. Like, that's illegal too, but I don't think that's their focus at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm guessing that's the whole scheme, is that Harry is charging like